Good morning, I'm Dan, and standing before you this morning, I bring you a story I hope will be apropos to our shared situation. I'd like to tell you about the first time I ever played out live with a band that I led. It was 2001 in Providence, Rhode Island, at an open mic night, which is the Wolf's Den of venues for a new band. There's 120 people in the room, 80 of them are playing that night. The rest are basically girlfriends, boyfriends, and the odd person who just shows up for a drink. If you have an excellent performance, you'll be asked to come back. Let's not, well, keep trying. We're the 9th band of the evening, which gives us a good 2.5 hours of waiting. More than enough time to let your nerves run amok. Looking out at the smoke-filled room populated with faces ranging from bored to disdainful feels like a low-rent interpretation of Dante's Inferno. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. And only 2 hours to go. My bandmates and I talk about nothing other than the 3 songs we're going to play that night. Few topics fill 2 hours of space. This was not one of them. As we're sitting there, every band sounds so much better than us. The growing feeling is that we're basically following a symphony with a kazoo solo. 2 bands to go, and now we're trying to buck ourselves up as running for the door seems just a bit beneath us. The smoky room is like a fog. It's disorienting, isolating, and, well, foggy. Our time is nearly upon us, a sentiment that can be shared between the gallows and the sweetest of victories. Now we have half an hour until we find out which. The time comes, the PA calls out our name with all the warmth of a busy deli counter. Your number's up. The 3 steps onto the stage are so much higher than you think they're going to be. Looking out at the crowd, because they're only an audience if they like you, and they're a mob if they don't. No slipknots or pitchforks, that's a good sign. We do a quick sound check, and my voice is so much louder than I'm expecting, and I barely recognize it. The lights are bearing down on you in a way that feels more oppressive than illuminating. After hours of waiting, we begin. First chord of the first song, something goes terribly wrong. All there is this detuned noise coming through our song. We play through this noise, as you have no choice. The room starts feeling like it's getting bigger and more cavernous. The lights are hotter than an angry stare. At the end of the song, it turns out our guitarist broke a string on the first chord. This instantly detunes his instrument, sends him into a panic, leaving me basically to stand up in front of a crowd with absolutely no plan and nothing to say. I find myself thinking and then saying, if I had any pride left, I'd be embarrassed. Feeling that the audience had become more of a mob at this point, I was left to talk to them for a few minutes, mostly self-deprecating humor. Problem gets solved, we play our next 2 songs flawlessly. Walk off the stage, and much to my surprise, members of other bands come up to me and start telling me either about similar experience they've shared, or how well I handled it. So somewhere in what felt like a disaster, the mob became an audience, and what felt like the worst moments or the realization of our fears was a small victory. It was in that moment that I learned almost nobody is good at things at the start. And nobody wants to see you fail when they're in the same situation. Since then, I have no fear of walking onto any form of stage, as I know you all have my back. And if there is something in this for you, when it's your turn, know that we all have your back as well. Thank you.